ask you all to take a great interest in this campaign, as safe working not only affects the efficient running of the factory, but also the welfare of the nation. We hear much about increased production and export drives, but very little has been said about the effect of safety on these national aims. You know, if only one person is away from work, how adversely it affects the working of the group, but when it reaches more serious proportions and the output of the company is affected, it can and does have more serious results. I think many of us do not stop to realize how an injury can affect us until we find ourselves in the medical department, being bandaged up and sent home as unfit for work. It is then, of course, too late. The damage has been done and will result in the loss of earnings and possibly physical inconvenience. Our accident record in this factory is good. Supervision and safety committees have done a lot, but they can only do a certain amount. The greatest result will only be achieved if every worker in the firm is safety conscious. Consequently, I am asking you to take note of all the hazards.
I'm asking you for every worker in the firm to take note. I'm asking you for every worker in the firm
to take a great interest in this campaign, as safe working not only affects the efficient running of the factory, but also the welfare of the nation.
Here to do
we hear much about increased production and export drives, but very little has been said about the effect of safety on these national aims. You know, if only one person is away from work, how adversely it affects the working of the group, but when it reaches more serious proportions and the output of the company is affected, it can and does have more serious results. I think many of us do not stop to realize how an injury can affect us until we find ourselves in the medical department, being bandaged up and sent home as unfit for work. It is then, of course, too late. The damage has been done and will result in the loss of earnings and possibly physical inconvenience. Our accident record in this factory is good. Supervision and safety committees have done a lot, but they can only do a certain amount. The greatest result will only be achieved if every worker in the firm is safety conscious. Consequently, I am asking you to take note of all the hazards which will be brought to your notice and avoid them at all times. Remember that you are the people who gain most by safe working. Campaign.
As safe working not only affects the efficient running of the factory, but also the welfare of the nation. We hear much about increased production and export drives, but very little has been said about the effect of safety on these national aims. You know, if only one
You're a boxer. I'm sorry. You're a boxer.
Gentle hearts are extinct like Hegelian bishops. Grateful I slept till a morning that would not say how much it believed of what I said the storm had said, but quietly drew my attention to what had been done. So many cubic meters the more in my system against a leonine summer, putting first things first.
Now.
Thousands have lived without love.
No, not yet.
magical fun time, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else. It is magical fun time with me, Ergo Phizmiz.
Experience the magic of fun.
Yeah, experience the magic of fun.
I'm Depresstival.
There are so many ways to have fun.
Yeah.
there? And collectively, I think we've forgotten all these ways to have fun. Personally, I think that sitting inside looking at your phone is not fun.
No, I think that's doing admin.
Yeah, exactly. And this morning, we took the bus, and that was fun.
It was. I don't know whether I'd say it was fun.
Did you not find it fun?
I didn't find it not fun. I didn't really sort of care. I liked looking out the window.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was.
I liked that the river was reflecting on the window, and the window was showing all these different colours.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Like oil.
That's what I mean.
On the pavement.
That is a way to have fun. Look at the oil on the pavement. Look at the reflections of the water and the colour prism.
Yeah, it was nice.
What's
I wouldn't
the
say
word?
it was fun, though. I'd say it was more like
A way to pass the time. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fun is like, I don't know.
When I was
I don't really sound like I like fun.
No. When I was sitting on the bus and I had my knees pressed up against the seat to stop the pressure on my bony bum, I'd say that was fun. I felt in control as well. I felt in control of my situation.
Have a spinal problem, so every time it because we haven't lived near public transport for years.
A very long
so I'm
time.
just being agoraphobic. But
Yeah.
I
we lived
forgot
in a
about
public transport black hole previously.
the last time I consistently got public transport. I didn't have quite as much of a spinal
Yes.
problem. Now,
Yes, yeah.
now the vibrations.
The judderiness of the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no! I found some cocodamol in my bag. That was fun.
That was
when
fun.
I found my painkillers.
That was a real moment.
That's fun.
That was a real moment of triumph. I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of those moments of all ultimate triumph over adversity.
Yeah, that was great.
Finding the painkillers in your bag.
Yeah, it was good. Of course, it's made absolutely no difference at all because it doesn't respond to any painkillers. But
No.
never mind.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I suppose it could be seen as a form of fun, of like just seeing if you can ever get rid of the pain, and then when you do, it's great.
Well, here's my question for you at this stage. In terms of the fact that the
Sorry, I just have to change chairs.
the oft heralded Brian Molko effect of medication. The fact that you can take a medication that has nothing in it.
Oh, it's this immersive pain experience
Yeah,
for
it is.
everyone.
You can take medication that has nothing in it, and it has this thing. I can't remember the exact name, but I think it's called the Brian Molko
Placebo
effect. Yeah, the placebo effect, and that's kind of fun. If you're taking a medication that actually doesn't do anything, and then it makes you better, I'd say that's fun.
That's never happened to me.
No.
Although, since I stopped drinking, I started drinking the fake alcohol, the fake beer, and it does have a placebo effect where you feel a little bit like woozy.
Yeah.
But
you
then
can get a Brian Molko from fake beer.
But then I accidentally drank some actual alcohol the other day, thinking it was non-booze, and it really tastes disgusting.
It was
like really, really.
What I thought was interesting was that it was like, because it's been a few years now since we drank any alcohol. And
After the aliens
helped
made
tell
me
us to
tip the wine down the.
Yeah.
But that's another story for another day.
And we remind me what we were talking about.
Why the alcohol taste of?
That because of not drinking it for a while, it's like your palate has reset to like when you were a child.
Kid.
And so beer, we accidentally drank some beer, and it tasted.
I'm trying to think of a clean word for.
Well, urine.
Yeah, are you allowed to
if urine can be clean, of course you can say urine. Excretion.
It really tastes terrible.
Yeah.
So, like, the pretend booze kind of makes you think that you're drinking real booze.
Yeah, and doesn't give you gut rot. No. But they still charge the same for it as real alcohol,
because
which is
that whole ideology
slightly
thing.
questionable. Although somebody once said to me that it's because of the tax, because they still tax it the same.
Well, that's really stupid.
Even though it's
isn't it?
not alcohol. They're still taxit the siam. And you get age checked for it as well, don't you?
Yeah.
You get IDs to buy non-alcoholic beer, which I always find quite exciting. And always
Oh, that's
and in fact,
fun.
I'd say I have fun.
That's fun.
It is fun.
I like being ID'd.
You can always make... because
it's nice when I'm older than the person who's...
Exactly.
When the person who's IDing me is younger, but they
Yeah.
think that I'm younger than them.
Yeah.
That's... Obviously, I've got so much vim.
Yeah, it's vim. It's vim and vigor. I once got ID'd when I had a teaching job and I was in my mid-20s, and I was planning for these music students to spend the afternoon making stencils and spray painting, and I wanted to do a workshop about composition in the sense of making different visual grids and then basically spraying grids on top of each other as a kind of metaphor for how that can work with computer music. And I was so proud of this idea. I only came up with it on the morning, and I was like, yes, that's what we're doing this afternoon. And so I went from where I was working down to B&Q on the lunch hour.
B&Q's fun.
B&Q is fun. I kind of like going around these hardware stores, even though I feel like I'm not like a legitimate man enough to be in the hardware store. I kind of feel like I've hacked the hardware store when I go in the hardware store, and like guys in hardware stores always stare at me like, "There's something wrong with this one. What's wrong with this one?"
I remember when sorry, I've completely interrupted your story. What do you want to finish the story about the composition thing?
Oh yeah, well basically I went to B&Q and they wouldn't let me buy spray paint because they didn't believe I was over 16 in my mid-20s.
That's great.
Yeah. But, the students were not most pleased when I got back, and the workshop that I'd been waxing lyrical about all morning wasn't possible because... And then also I went with the students for their Christmas, like their college Christmas bash kind of thing.
Where was it?
It was at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh, yeah. Newport.
It was in the Hard Rock Cafe. And we all went in a line, and the bosses went in first, and then the students went in, and me being the soul of politeness, I put myself at the back. And then, after all the students had got in, they wouldn't let me in because I didn't have ID. So I didn't get to go to the party because I was just too young and beautiful. Oh. Yeah.
It's not a very nice pub, to be fair.
No,
I don't
it's
think it
not a
really
very
constitutes
nice
a
pub.
pub. It's more like I don't know, just one of these many places where you feel you could be subject to violence from the other people in there.
Yeah. I mean, they might hit you with a
another
hard
reason.
rock, you know.
Yeah,
hence
maybe
the name.
maybe that's what it means.
There's a lot of violence in there. A lot of hard rocks get thrown by the hard rockers. And that is what hard rockers do, by the way. If you were ever wondering, hard rockers, they're people who throw stones at people.
Or maybe they're
especially
just
ones who
really
live in glass
into
houses.
Geology.
Oh yeah, well, that Time team, they're a bunch of hard rockers, aren't they? Really. Apparently it's quite fun on the Time team set. I've known some people who've been on the Time team set, and they have a lovely time. They have a wonderful time. So, we went out last night in Ashburton to see Attila the Stockbroker, punk, poet, legend, and a cosmological event happened, didn't it? A major cosmological historical event happened last night, which was that Ari Radney, the 10-year-old queen of punk, who we have played on this show before, was staying with us and came, of course, to see Attila the Stockbroker. And then the 10-year-old queen of punk handed over with the words, "This is a record I made." Handed over a 5-inch lathe-cut record of a cover of Crass's Do They Owe Us a Living to Attila the Stockbroker, whose little heart just melted, didn't it? I mean, as it would. A 10-year-old punk queen turns up at your gig and says, "Here's a record." He's going to be happy. So that was a kind of a cosmological punk history moment, I think.
Yeah.
I think some
It made me very happy.
stars turned on their axis or something last night in the great punk heaven. And it was a great show, Attila the Stockbroker did, in Ashburton. And the primary subject of his show, of course, being before everything was subverted to mean what it doesn't mean, is an actual left-wing, like Marxist punk poet and songwriter. And the show in Ashburton Arts Centre last night centred mostly around the very apparent truth that the Western world is descending day by day into total, outright, crazy fascism. Yes, that's right. You heard it. Fascism is on the rise. Fascism's running wild all over the world.
Because it always works so well.
It always works really well, always has loads of posterity, doesn't descend into absolute chaos and end really quickly. It has a history of really working out. And the thing that is concerning me is I want to know how many of the people out on the street are raging fascists, because you just can't tell. They don't dress in the way they used to dress. They used to wear special fascist outfits, and they used to go marching together and having fun. You know, that's how they have fun.
I don't know if they're having fun.
Oh, they're having a wonderful time.
They're
getting
having,
all the legs going
they're
at the
having
same
hate.
time. They feel like little tin soldiers, and they're having hate fun. They're having hate fun. But they used to dress in a way that was
It's more
identifiable.
like rabies, really, isn't it? I wouldn't really say that it's fun.
So yeah, they're everywhere. Let's go back to our. I've figured this lovely this thing that I'm very happy with now. That if you're going to talk about something horrible,
Show tunes. Yeah,
underneath.
it makes it easier for people to.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
So I want to know who they are. I want to know who the people are who want to vote for these people. But also you can see, of course, that the reason that people are so discontent, and that is when fascism rises. You know, Hitler was voted in 1933 because of what had happened at the end of World War I, when Germany was blamed for World War I, even though Germany did not start World War I by any stretch. But Germany was made the scapegoat for World War I, and that led to an environment of vast social decline. At the same time, it led to an environment of greatly enhanced creativity and all the wondrous output of the Weimar Republic. But if you make the people poor, sad, and discontent and ill, then fascism is going to rise. And I want to know who they are and where they are. There was a poll taken in the Daily Telegraph, you told me.
No, it was the Mirror.
In the Mirror, okay, which was about should people with mental health problems be given money to exist and live as human beings.
Should they be allowed to eat? Apparently, most people think no.
Yeah, people with mental health problems should not be allowed to eat.
It was like 80-something%, I think.
80% of people in this country.
You can go and look it up on the.
According to the Daily Mirror, which was a traditionally left-wing publication, if I'm not mistaken, at least compared to the Sun. And now it seems that this sort of vast self-centered hatred has absolutely infiltrated culture in this country, and everybody wants to see their brothers and sisters. The Good Samaritan would walk past
get
and
told
spit
to
on
stop
them.
doing charity work.
Yes, the Good Samaritan would be told to stop getting charity work. We spent. A major part of the last 6 months being told by people close to us that we were wrong to do charity work. That
it's
we
all
were
right, they're
wrong
not listening because
no, of course
they're
not.
really arrogant.
That we were wrong to raise money for Palestinian people. And the attempt, like with all of these things, the attempt to explain why, of course it's a good thing to try and help people in other places.
Stop children from starving to death. I mean, last time I checked, I thought that was
a good thing.
Was a good idea. I thought everybody wanted that. I don't know,
Yeah.
but apparently no. It's fine to be horrible to children now. Apparently,
yeah, it's fine.
I thought that was a baseline thing that you.
Well, yes.
I thought the idea was, be nice to kids, set a good example, try to not be horrible to children.
Yeah. But that all changed, didn't it, about a year and a half ago, when suddenly, prior to the beginning of the genocide on Gaza, it was a common, just a given that, under no circumstances do we hurt children?
I don't agree, actually.
Or
I
as
think,
a culture, we
I
don't.
think,
or we're not supposed to.
well, yeah, but if you think about it, everybody's been sort of happily going about buying cheap clothes that are stitched together
they
by,
will hurt children in
by
other
little
countries,
kids in Bangladesh who are making like 2p a day or something. Everybody's been fine with that for years, but you know,
and
that's
these
caused a slide, I think.
Yeah, and all of these things, when you put them all together, and it has made now not a generation of people, but at least one would hope a reasonably large cohort of people, and I certainly absolutely consider myself among them. That given that this society now sort of wantonly and creates justifications for killing babies, I think that we are at a point similar, and you have said the same thing. We're at a point similar to Americans when the Vietnam War was happening.
Oh, yeah.
When people were just utterly disgusted by this society. And I am... Wait, excuse me, wait a minute. I am utterly disgusted by this society.
I want nothing to do with it.
No,
I
I
didn't
have
really
no
want
desire
much
to
to do with it
participate.
anyway, but like the society, as far as I'm concerned, just tells me that I'm evil because of being disabled, and like you know, I don't know. It's quite difficult to talk about without being able to fall back on the usage of expletives. But I'm sure you get what I'm trying to.
But also that we live in a country which has this vast homelessness problem. And when I was a child,
It wasn't.
homeless people were mythological creatures.
Yeah,
like you
it's
talked
few
about the
and far
tramp.
between.
You talked about the tramp,
Yeah.
and you still got tramps turning up in the town where I lived, who were guys with floppy hats and beards and a sack over their shoulder. And through that whole the idea of homelessness was pretty unthinkable, and a lot of tramps, like in America with the hobo culture, a lot of people had chosen it because they didn't want to participate in society. So the whole hobo culture in America was people who'd chosen it because they were just sickened by the society.
That more sort of.
But that's not what's going on.
But like
now.
now, it's because everybody's been being continuously sort of just crushed by neoliberalism.
Yeah. And the hobo culture, they were more like traveling Sufis or something like that, the American equivalent of traveling Sufis. But the homeless people now, which are incidentally, I believe the statistic of homeless people in this country is that 70% of people in this country are homeless. 70% of the homeless people in this country are autistic people.
Or neurodiverse.
Yeah. So this points to a major problem, does it not? Because if you actually look at our history, I'm going to go back to the lovely music now. If you actually look at our history and look at all the people throughout history who have created things that have changed history or have contributed astonishing works of art, novels, poetry.
Oh, gee, what's the commonality there?
You look at those people's lives, because their lives, like, for example, Mozart's life is extremely well documented. Mozart was a very prodigious writer of letters, so we know very, very much about Mozart's personality.
And I'm sorry, but he's autistic. People say, oh, well, you didn't have any proof. It's like, okay, the diagnostic rates have only really, for instance, in my position as a female autistic person, they didn't even believe that we existed, that women could be autistic, which is obviously, I don't know, it's very frustrating trying to, the fact that all of the autism legislation is made by people who aren't autistic and stuff. So what was the point? With Mozart, people saying, oh, well, you didn't know. It's like, well, of course he was. I mean, it's just obvious, isn't it? Like,
you can diagnose people if you have enough evidence of their life and their personality and their habits. People like Leonardo da Vinci, there is absolutely no way that he wasn't autistic.
Of course he
but
was.
also, if you go through, if you just go through the entirety of history and remove all the people who you think were probably autistic, so
good luck.
People you actually end up with a civilization that has nothing but people hitting each other.
Yeah.
And people are saying to me,
you're sounding a bit autistic supremacy, especially my children.
No,
but no, it's not.
That's not it.
But it isn't. But it can't be autistic supremacy when the autistic people are in the position where 70% of the homeless people are autistic. Yes. We actually need a bit of autistic.
Well, actually,
supremacy.
that's just having self-confidence. I'd say. Like, I mean. It would be. It's not. The fact is, like, you should be allowed to celebrate your achievements, which are, you know, I'm pretty good at pattern recognition. That doesn't mean that I'm having a great time, does it? But just let me have that one thing, you know, of like, I can play the piano, I can do all this other stuff, but I can't do many things. But and like the kind of general sort of, I guess, conversation is always around. Oh, we can't do these particular. Well, I should probably state that we're both autistic, you know, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. But the general idea is that people saying, "Oh, I struggle." Well, myself, I struggle as an autistic person with, I don't know, sort of. I wouldn't be able to do an office job. They'd all hate me, and as has been evidenced every time I've tried to work in a normative environment, everybody hates me, and stuff, and. But the implication is the idea that I somehow want to be in that society. That it's like, oh, we're bad at this, but you know, with a bit of adjustments, I'll be able to be a normal person. I know. I don't want anything to do with your society. Actually, like nothing to do with it. I don't see why I should. It's new. It hasn't been like this for ages. You know, all this stuff about kind of being autistic and having trouble with like noises and sensory stuff. That's only because there are screens absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, and there are noises.
I mean, not so much in like this part of the country, but just everywhere you go out. Like when we were in the really friendly city in the West Country that shall not be named, which is one of the best places to live, where everyone's so friendly.
Oh yeah, I know the place.
Has the sound of a city that shall not be named, where they've just decided they're only going to collect the bins once a month. I'm sure it's really lovely there, but just the sort of when we were there. Just you go out and there's a screen. There's a screen everywhere. There's constant. So the thing of like saying autistic people have got trouble with sensory stuff and everything. If you took somebody from the Victorian era and dumped them in this particular time, they would also have real trouble with it. Like, so I don't understand why I'm supposed to get used to this thing of there being screens and constant sensory stuff when it's only been around for a few years.
Yeah, it would be difficult.
It's not a normal society. No. This isn't modern.
It would be difficult to experience sensory overload in a pre-industrial
society.
Exactly,
and so that's probably...
How would you do that?
So,
like, just you'd have to like, I don't know, you'd have to like lay on the floor with loads of ducks on you, or somebody
like screaming in your face.
Somebody screaming in your face,
But just the whole, it's so. It's so frustrating, the thing of people saying, oh, autism diagnostic rates are going up. Okay, well, maybe that's because there's a slightly bigger population, you know, constantly growing. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's because the current modern world where everything is just screaming in your face all the time is a problem for people. That's not a good way to live. Just because I'm reacting badly to that and I have like sensory overload and basically just pass out effectively from like somehow that makes me the lesser person. But it's like, okay, if you don't want me to do that, maybe don't shine lights in my face and scream in my ears all the time, and then I'll be fine.
Which is basically, I mean, I think I talked about this last week or the week before, but because I have not really at all been using the internet, I've been using it to like check necessary messages once a day or something. When I do go on the internet now, because I guess I've created, especially like now we can put our books up and things, I've created this nice sort of
finally not homeless after like 10 years.
I've created
this,
this nice sort of world where there are all these books around, and every single book is a container not only of information but of souls, because of course it is. These remarkable technologies that contain universes using this remarkable technology of the alphabet. And we listen to records and we make tapes, and I'm now very, very far away from the rhythm of the internet. And I would like to just briefly create the rhythm of the internet in auditory.
Do you want me to do any vocals?
In an auditory fashion. Yeah, when we come to the adverts. Okay, I'll give you a...
Okay, yeah, you give me a thing and
I'll
do an interpretive
you can
piece of extended vocal technique.
Yeah, we can both do the voiceovers for the adverts. That'll be great. Okay, so it
was going to be more abstract than that, but I'll just tell
okay, yeah, well, however the internet makes you feel, this is your chance to express it. Okay, so I'm going on the internet. What am I going on? I'm going on to, let me see. I'm going to watch a movie by Will Hay, a lovely old film. I'm going to put that on now. A lovely old film on YouTube because it's public domain. So that's great. Let's press play. That's the Gainsborough Studios lady turning round like she does. I'm actually turning on the air now. Okay, then the Will Hay film starts. And then the actors come and start talking. Lovely, lovely oldie worldy. Oh, you're wasting your time. What's that there? What are you doing? Just looking at you, wasting your time. Have you two got? Are you two brothers? No, but we got the same girlfriend. Bread. Buy some bread. Buy bread. Buy bread. Buy some bread. Buy some bread. Buy bread. Buy bread. Buy some bread. Ah! Buy bread. Buy it. Buy it. Buy things. Buy them now. Buy stuff. Buy stuff. Buy stuff. Buy stuff. Back to the film. Oh, yes, very, we're trying to open this railway station. Buggles Kelly, it's called, is it? Oh, all right, mate. I'm the little chubby boy. Oh, I'm the old man. Buy things, buy things, buy potatoes.
Ronald McDonald.
This is not just food. This is M&S food.
Follow him. Yeah, Ronald McDonald. Oh, we all love Ronald McDonald. Ronald McDonald. Oh, yes. Ronald McDonald. In your life, in your house, all the time. In your bedroom, in the closet, waiting around the corner. Ronald McDonald. Oh, look at him. Look into his eyes. The depth of nothingness and evil in his eyes. Ronald McDonald. Yeah. You love Ronald McDonald. You want him in your life all the time, everywhere, everything. Ronald McDonald.
Buy things, buy stuff, buy things,
buy it, put it directly into landfill. Yes, that's a great idea. Now, just burn the aerosols, just burn it.
Back to this movie. Well, it looks like there's some smugglers going into the cove. Oh, no, not smugglers, Governor. Yeah, there's smugglers coming into the cove, smuggling in the whiskey. Well, I don't know what we could possibly do about that. Buy things, buy stuff, buy things, buy stuff, buy. A potato, a banana, raspberries.
Anyway, that's the internet.
Did that make you want to buy anything?
I was when I used to work at that bar in like the last time I worked in a bar. Somebody said that I was affected by advertising, and I was like, "Well, no, I'm not affected by advertising. I don't think I've ever been affected by advertising. Once actually, I was in America working, and I saw an advert for a torch with a magnet on the bottom, and that's the only time where I thought, that's a really good idea. You could put that anywhere. But the rest of the time, no. And then this guy was like, "Oh yeah, but why are you drinking Coca-Cola?" And it's like, well, because it was on the tap at the bar, and that was what we got for free. I just don't really care. I sort of have blood sugar thing. I haven't drunk that stuff for years, but because it's evil, but just this thing of like, oh, why are you drinking that over any other brand? It's like, because it's literally available on the bar for free,
right there,
and it was a 6-hour shift, and I needed some sugar to stay awake. But this thing of like, I'm not affected by advertising. I've never been affected by advertising. I don't tend to buy stuff. I just don't really get it. I don't understand, because it's always going to have some aspect of lying in it, telling you, oh, you should buy this thing because it's great. Oh, it's really great. And then, like, that in itself is a lie, trying to persuade somebody to buy a thing. Yeah. And this is why I'm poor.
Yeah. And we're also fairly I feel really guilty. I feel really guilty about this. And, you know, maybe it'll send me to hell. But
we're
really,
all already in hell,
oh, yeah.
Don't worry. This is hell.
But really, you know, truth be told, compared to many, and I'm ashamed to say this, I'm quite economically inactive.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I don't order
well, that's
that
it.
much stuff.
You're not. It's also the term economically inactive doesn't just mean that you're not earning money. That also means that you're not spending any money.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's also bad.
Yeah. Well, that's really what I meant.
I'd be more economically active if people actually paid me for the work I'd done.
Well,
sorry, I'm really angry today.
I don't even know if I would be more economically active. There isn't really anything that I want. I like old books, and that's about it. And dead man's clothes.
Yeah,
I always wear dead man's clothes. I've got the souls of so many old men around me. All of my clothes are dead old men's clothes, and it's great. And they're so much more classy than the stuff you get in Primark. Oh. This tone is a test tone, a sine wave. It is playing on the back of an LP that I found at a vide-grenier in Bretagne. And it is a test pressing of the Utah Symphony Orchestra playing the works of Erik Satie. And did it give you a fright at home, listeners?
Yeah.
Yes. You can do that. That's using the pitch button on the turntable to make that test tone into a little song. And
sounds like that
is how you have fun.
Monophonic synthesizer.
It does, like a Korg monotone. Yeah, but
thing.
That's a way to have fun. Find a record with some test tones on the back and then flick the button. We have to have ways to have fun when fascism is running riot around the world, don't we?
Well, we were just walking in and we saw a whole about 20 children, little kids who were...
That was beautiful.
Were all attached by a bit of string, singing some strange thing, walking around the grounds.
The children in the line were all doing this kind of strange... They
looked like they were having fun.
Yeah, they were doing this kind of strange meandering hum, like... Ooh.
It kind of looked like a sort of bit of performance art.
It did, and then the born leader at the front of them was pointing at people at the tables going, I can sing a rainbow to you and you and you. So there was a future pop star, and it was quite a magical, strange
It looked like
image.
something out of Jacques Tati or something.
It did. It looked like something out of Jacques Tati, or like a load of people being dragged along to build the pyramids, you know? It kind of looked like. Well, we've been talking for a long time. Shall we play some music?
Yes.
Shall we play something off the other side of this record with test tones on?
Oh, is it Erik Satie?
It is.
He had a lot of fun.
He did have a lot of fun.
Everybody thought he was a weirdo, though, because he was like us, because he was autistic, and nobody... Oh, you look too enthusiastic about things. They're just jealous of the fact that we have more fun.
Yeah, exactly. And we do have fun, don't we?
Yeah.
So much fun. I've had so much fun this week. It's been such a fun week. I can barely remember what we've done, but the general atmosphere of joviality in the face of international fascism has kept me above water, kept me floating there. La barca. Solid, beautiful, elevated. Should we play some music?
Yeah.
I love it when this program gets to the point where you're just looking at me going, what are you doing?
It's because I need nicotine.
Okay, let's listen to Whatever, because it's a test pressing. It says RCA test pressing, catalog number VCSIC 038, side 2. And it is a ballet by Erik Satie.
And we can talk about Erik Satie and how he used to have fun.
Yeah, he did have wonderful fun.
Afterwards.
So this is some ballet by Satie. I'm not sure which one because it doesn't say on the record, but let's find out.
Don't scream from the stomach where you're strong.
Father, I will never see you again. He was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I'm going out. Old Mrs. Rabbit
Took a basket and her umbrella and went
through the wood to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate.
Oh, it is a tight squeeze. There, I'm through. Oh, look at those lettuces. I must have some of those. lettuce in this garden, I count my very own. I love McGregor's garden and watch with tender care.
One day, and 5 cabin farms, Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate.
Oh, it is a tight squeeze. There, I'm through. Oh, look at those lettuces. I must have some of those.
Shade,
The
accused
lettuce
of murder,
in this
and his
garden,
works unplayed.
I count.
Nor while we praise the dead, should we forget
Member of
we
the
have
Bunny
Stravinsky,
family.
bless him, with us yet. Maestro, make your minions play. In all hearts, as in our finale, may reason and love be crowned, assume their rightful sway.
Stop, thief! He's stolen my radishes!
The hard question. To ask the hard question is simple. Asking at meeting with a simple dance of acquaintance.
And those French beans.
Remember kindly Salieri's
My, oh
shade,
my!
accused
Radishes.
of murder and his works unplayed. Nor while we praise the dead, should we forget
Radishes.
we have Stravinsky, bless him,
My,
with
oh
us yet.
my! Radishes.
Basta. Maestro, make your minions play.
My, oh
In
my!
all hearts, as in our
Radishes.
finale, may reason and love be crowned. Assume
My,
their
oh my!
rightful sway.
Radishes. And my, oh my! Radishes.
The hard question.
My, oh my!
To ask
Radishes.
the hard question is simple. Asking at meeting
My,
with
oh
a simple
my!
dance of acquaintance
Radishes.
to what these go and how these do. To ask the hard question is simple, the simple act of the confused will. But the answer is hard and hard to remember. On steps, on shore, the ears listening to words at meeting, the eyes looking at the hands helping, are never sure of what they learn from how these things are done. And forgetting to listen or see makes forgetting easy. Only remembering the method of remembering, remembering only in another way, only the strangely exciting lie, afraid to remember what the fish ignored, how the bird escaped, or if the sheep obeyed. Till, losing memory, bird, fish, and sheep are ghostly, and ghosts must do again what gives them pain. Cowardice cries for windy skies, coldness for water, obedience for a master. Shall memory restore the steps and the shore, the face and the meeting place? Shall the bird live? Shall the fish die?
Now,
Old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went to the baker's, bought a loaf of bread and 5 eggs. Mopsy and Cotton, who were good little, went down blackberries. Peter, who was very, ran straight to Gregor's garden, squeezed under. Oh, is a top. I'm through. Oh, look at those. I'm of those. And let this God I count every and every day I I come here to see what has been sown. My love.
Sung by a beautiful, tall, willowy creature called Miss Patricia Ridgway. Despite her fair face, fair figure and fair voice, she only had one small piece of toast for breakfast. But when you consider what this young girl has eaten in her lifetime, 43 whole bullocks, 81 prime Hereford cows, 1,000 acres of potatoes, 207 sacks of Spanish onions, 8 warehouses of brown bread, inadvertently a small packet of a violent purgative called Crash, 68,000 quarts of milk, 120 Danish pigs, 400 miles of pork sausages, 8,000 plates of vegetable carrot and brown Windsor soup, 1,200 weights of fish and chips, 2 entire mountains of salt, 1,700 square feet of red jelly, 148 smells of garlic. But here, let me put the microphone to her tum-tum so you can hear.
Contact miking one's body is an excellent way to have fun. As Spike Milligan just proved by contact miking the body of his then wife, Patricia Ridgway, singing the song Fun, 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 produced by none other than George Martin of the Beatles. And I figured maybe I should go through these records and say what we've been listening to in these rather chaotic 3 turntable mixes. We heard a wonderful thing that I found, Lucas Safety Week from 1954. Mr. R.C. Leach's talk about safety. So, if you weren't already feeling safe, you can feel a little bit safer. We heard in there work by Xiao He and Alex Nowitz, which is the Department of Public Sound 2 on the Rotterdam-based imprint Deplaire, run by the great Peter Fingler and Annemiek. And then we had ballet by Erik Satie. I'm not sure which one it was. Maybe it was Relâche, which is my favourite title of a Satie ballet. And they were quite upset in some ways that nobody came because nobody got the joke. So Relâche means theatre closed.
Oh, right.
So that was the name of the ballet. I think maybe that was Relâche, but I'm not 100% sure. But Relâche was also the piece that had René Clair's Entr'acte in the middle of it, and which is like this 10-minute film that like Man Ray and Marcel Duchamp and all those people are in. And the film score is written by Erik Satie. And it is literally the first ever film score.
Wow.
And Satie had a different idea to what everybody else was talking about in terms of scoring music and the way that people played like music to go with film and to go with the action. Satie had the idea that because a film at that time played at irregular speeds, so you could not score exactly to the images. So instead, Satie developed... I wish we could play this piece, but I don't think we have it yet. But Satie developed this method for scoring a film, which was a kind of modular method, which basically meant that between point A and point B in the film, you play a repetition of phrase X. Between point B and point C in the film, you play a repetition of phrase Y, etc., etc. So by doing that, Satie inadvertently invents minimalism.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. He invented so much. Yeah. He had a lot of fun.
He did have a lot
of fun. Didn't he? He challenged the head of the Paris Opera to a duel once, which he didn't. He started a church with which he was the only member, didn't he?
Yes, yes. The Church of Jesus the Conductor was his church.
What else did he do? His house. I've always wanted to visit his house in. Where is it? It's not the one in Paris.
He has one. It's in Honfleur, I think.
Yeah, and it looks amazing. It's sort of like you go in. There's big pear thing, giant pear in the ceiling sculpture, and then they had a room, I think, that has a sort of player piano that just plays automatically when you go in the room.
Ooh,
one of
nice.
his pieces, maybe Vexations, I don't know, I can't remember. Then the top of the... Oh, yeah, Vexations is another one. I'll come back to that. But the top floor was like a sort of art... It had a kind of... It sort of line down the middle, so half of it looks like an Art Deco bar, and then the line down the middle, and then the other half of the room is like this really Gothic era sort of cathedral, altar type thing. What was the other thing? He got asked to write the minutes of his day once for some magazine, and so he wrote the exact minutes, as in at sort of 8:23, I get up, I go downstairs at 8:27, eat lots of white food.
Only white food.
The white food was... I think he was joking, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he's
a
funny guy.
Yeah, he was a funny guy.
And everybody just
kind of
thought he was a weirdo, but he was just trying to have fun.
Yeah. Apparently, his best friends were the children in the local neighbourhood. When Mr. Satie used to walk back, whatever it was, his 5-mile walk home from Paris, he was just generally seen out playing with the kids. And, of course, all the parents were like, well, that weird Mr. Satie playing with... Why is he interested in children? Why is he interested in talking with children? Doesn't he want to be a grown-up like us and sit together and talk about, like, administration? And, well, they didn't have television then, but they'd be saying, what's on the telly? The fact is, if you're an imaginative person in this culture, even then you become an outsider, because English culture,
Well, that was France.
Well, that was France, but yeah, but English culture particularly has just never been kind to artists. And they should tell this to every single person, every single young artist who aspires to make work. The best advice that one could at least formally give to an artist seeking, not their fortune, because artists don't get a fortune, but seeking just a place to work and
try and get out of England.
Try and get out of England, because if you actually look at the majority of like really sort of interesting, great artists, and particularly in the last century, a lot of the English ones, same as America. It's no coincidence that Orson Welles spent the majority of his adult life in Europe, because nobody in the cultural wasteland of America, which we are now also the cultural wasteland of UK, nobody is interested.
Well, I mean, Chaplin got thrown out, didn't he?
Yes,
so,
yes.
Like...
My daughter watched Chaplin's Modern Times and The Great Dictator the other day. She's 10, and I described to her how Chaplin was exiled from America for making these films, and she was very confused and was like, "Well, why?" And the truth is,
because everyone's an idiot.
Yeah, and it's always been that there is some problem. There is some inherent problem in the society that we live in. If we are still living in the extension of the society that threw Charlie Chaplin out of America for saying that people shouldn't give themselves over to dictators, it seems to point to something underneath our Western face mask, luxury face mask, that is maybe not as cut and dry as it's supposed to be. And we're now living in a country where we're aware, we see news stories and things that people who are raising their voices in dissent are being arrested in this country. And that's very, very interesting, isn't it? Because particularly the crazy right wing young boys who just ain't learnt yet.
Incel inside.
Who are obsessed with this idea that we don't have free speech. But, everyone does have free speech, but the point is that if you say something ugly, there will be consequences. Somebody will say, why are you saying that ugly, horrible thing,
From what I can gather...
Free speech is not the right to insult people.
Well, but from what I can gather, like, all the people who are going on about free speech, they seem to be able to say whatever they want all the time because we never, ever stop hearing about it.
No, not at all. It's interesting, isn't it?
But then if you say, hey, I don't really think that bombing children in tents is a particularly great thing, and I think that, like,
not very Christmassy.
Sort of like obliterating an entire sort of like part of the planet and just... sort of blowing everything up,
killing
absolutely
people,
everything,
the wildlife
is a bad idea, and also doing that on a global scale, and then everyone calls you like an extremist.
Yeah,
like what? Because I don't want to see everything on fire.
Yeah, you're an extremist now.
Absurd.
If you want peace and love and understanding,
well,
that
just
makes
like
you an extremist.
to not have everything on fire would be nice, because I'm sure that that's not one of the sort of basic requirements for life is for everything to be on fire. And I think I say this quite a lot, but I'm sure we're supposed to be afraid of fire, but apparently everyone loves it. I don't know.
Yeah, fire's fine.
Like,
and Hollywood
I just don't really get it. Like, the thing with Hollywood is in, like, if you can sort of consider that kind of this thing called cinema, which, whatever your feelings on Hollywood and, like, stuff that sucks and sort of propagandist elements and everything, it is still Hollywood is basically kind of like, you could see it as a kind of a temple to cinematic kind of. There has, it's not all bad. There's been some great stuff, but the fact of it is kind of like a modern temple, if you like, to art, and sort of the streets are kind of paved with the memories of, like, Maya Dere and Orson Welles. Like, I can't think of any other films for some reason, but whatever. And all of that's gone now, a lot of it, and it burnt down, and no one cares.
No,
like, we moved
cares.
On. It's already forgotten. It's fine.
We just
everything is disposable in the pursuit of the beige middle mile of Amazon.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's it. And
apparently that's a nice existence.
Yes, the ultimate aspiration of our society is the beige middle aisle of Amazon, and to order the stuff, test it out, and then send it back.
Yeah, you test it out and then send it back.
Get some nice carbon
on the way, get some more nice carbon on the way back. Do that every single day.
I can't figure out how to talk about this without pointing to particular people, but it doesn't actually matter because they're not going to listen because they're so arrogant. But sort of like of late, being around certain people who have a stream of things coming in, commodities that they then go and send back, and it's, what are you buying? What is it? And this whole thing of like being in the really friendly city and only an hour and a half away from London in the West Country, that it's just so friendly there. Like there, just seeing this constant stream of Amazon delivery vans, constantly going around and stuff. What are people buying? I don't understand it.
No, I don't understand.
I mean, I buy stuff off of that, pet food, but that's it.
Yeah.
But then I'm not saying that's good. I would prefer to not have to buy pet food off of the website. I'd prefer to be able to get it from a shop. Yeah. But that seems to be impossible now as well. But I just don't understand what this constant chasing of like commodity. What the function of it? It doesn't make it sure. Where do you put all the stuff? What do you do with all the packaging? I find that like if I buy food from a supermarket, I have to go through this constant sort of like Sisyphean task every day of trying to deal with the disposable plastic, which I don't want. Which I just. Why do we want to live like this? Like, and it takes me hours to sort out the plastic. Yeah. And they're probably not even recycling it anyway. They're probably just like burning it or shoving it in landfill. But I have to at least feel like I'm not contributing to that, because it's not just the thing of the whole idea of like the plastic thing is like people have kind of branded it in a, you care about the environment. It's like, no, I don't want to live around plastic. I don't want everything. The sound I find like it sort of like kind of puts a weird like Pavlovian trigger in me now of just this like, it's awful. It's dirty. It smells. It's covered in like, why do we want to do it? Oh, of course, because there's some like shareholder who has loads of plastic stuff that they need to get rid of, and then you can put all the food into a little plastic bag, and then they can control how much you're allowed to eat, and then make it into even more of a commodity, into a thing, and then they control absolutely everything that you buy and everything like that, when we could just not have plastic, you know. And I was reading a thing that said the UK and the US have like I'm not sure, I think it was the US, but they've got like the highest plastic usage in the world. The UK has an extremely high plastic usage. And then when my mother was in Mexico, she was taking me around the Walmart on the phone. Like, she phoned me, and I was looking at Walmart, which is Asda, and nothing was in plastic. All of the produce was like on the shelf, and people are allowed to actually have the autonomy to get it out and put it in a bag themselves, instead of having this prescribed thing where it's like, no, you're not allowed to buy more or less than this particular amount of tomatoes. And it's just, I don't see how it's like being in purgatory in sort of, and then you've got bits of hell around other bits of the planet. And sort of some people are in hell and some people are in purgatory. And then the people who are having a really nice time, they're fully aware that that it's not sustainable. So they're not even having a nice time. They're not having a nice time either. Everyone knows it's a disaster, but we just continue for some reason, because apparently it's better. It's not. It sucks.
Yep.
Why do you want to live like this? Sorry, I'm really angry today.
Hey, no, it's good. Vent.
Just because I ran out of sertraline.
Okay.
Sorry, you're not supposed to talk about medication in front of people. I don't care. I'm depressed. I hate it.
Don't talk about mental health in this country.
No, don't. They keep everything repressed.
The police will come in and steal your bank card.
What?
The police, they want to take away all your money. So the police are going to come in and steal your bank card away. But on the subject of plastic, I disagree. I think more stuff should be shrink wrapped. I want cars shrink wrapped. Yeah. So when it comes, they have to spend ages getting the shrink wrap off. And contemporary artists nowadays, there's a lot of contemporary artists who like to wrap things around stuff, isn't there? So there's that guy who makes like giant ecocides by covering entire plots of land in fabric.
Christo?
I've got no idea what he's called.
Like wraps things.
And there was that person who wrapped up the Barbican Centre recently.
I mean, it was, I can understand the point of it, but there was like loads of moss and lichen and birds and like plants and stuff, and they were doing this like thing which was I can't remember what the actual the point of it was good. It was I liked the idea of it. It was all I can't remember, but it
ideas.
But
are
it's
all very
like
well,
I don't know, like the Barbican's sort of like a nature reserve. You
Yeah.
should kind of like do it not on the bits where all the
but
animals live.
also-
Why does it just leave some of the nature?
I really detest this kind of art that is really prevalent now, which is inherently massively wasteful. Because if you wrap a building in loads of cloth, then that cloth, which has probably been made by people in sweatshops.
Well, no, I think this was specifically it wasn't.
Did they make their own cloth?
No, I think it was the cloth was all from whichever part of the world the artist was referencing, but I really can't remember what the piece was. I just remember thinking, like, I spent a lot of time when I was living near the Barbican going there because it was kind of like a nature reserve. It was like a bit where, and there's like herons and stuff like flying around. And if you put loads of stuff all over the side of the building, what about all the animals? There's loads of stuff that lives there. We should be like, there should be plants on every single surface in the everywhere to
also,
try and make it less sort of ecocidey.
But my point is that if you wrap a building in cloth as an art installation, the cost of that cloth is immense. But when it's finished and it's been rained on and the birds have made their business all over it, it's going to be a really big, really dirty piece of cloth.
Disgusting.
And that is not going to fit in the local fabric recycling
so
bin.
It's just, I don't know, I just think, like, I'm getting to the point now where even sort of like when we were doing the panto in the really friendly city that everybody's so nice, they were talking about going and putting the posters up and using like adhesive. But like you're spraying adhesive on the wall and there's stuff that lives on the wall. Like you've already covered everything in concrete. We've already tarmacked the entire planet. You don't need to do it more. Yeah. You know, there's stuff that lives there. Every time you spray something on the wall, like a glue, you're killing loads of beetles and stuff like that. You're going to be murdering the things that are there, and it's not just about the humans. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, this conversation has really changed my artistic direction, because I've just made I spent 3 years making a rather large-scale, complex thing. I'm kind of without creative direction now. Which in some ways is nice, but in other words it's frustrating. But you've just inspired what my my next project is going to be. I'm going to, because I can work in a more mainstream, accessible, play in the public space type way. I'm going to shrink wrap Ben Nevis. That's what I'm going to do.
We could shrink wrap the whole of Dartington, all of it.
I'm going to laminate Dartington.
Yeah, let's laminate it. Laminate it all. Plastic's great.
Imagine how, if that landscape that we can see now...
I'd be much better if it was covered in plastic.
Yeah, imagine if every single leaf were laminated.
Yeah.
And imagine the jobs that will create. Freelance laminators unite.
Oh, yeah.
Come to Dartington... laminate the nature.
I was in a band called Laminate Everything.
You were in a band called Laminate
it was nice.
Everything.
We went and played the Isle of Wight Festival, and then all of the... we had a lot of songs about cabbage, because cabbage... C-A-B-B-A-G-E. I don't know if that's pitch, but whatever, starting on the C.
I think that
spell out cabbage,
like a C to
and then
me
you can
when
write. Then you can spell other words. And then we were going into the Isle of Wight Festival, and all of the admin staff were really excited to meet us because they had a lot of.
They've got so many
laminate everything. Yeah. We've got loads of laminated things, and they'd all been talking about it. And then the security was saying the band coming through and laminate everything, and it was great. I got everyone to say laminate everything. It was really nice.
I used to make art with a laminator just because I enjoyed laminating, not because it made a particularly satisfying object at the end, because they always end up all bendy and things. But I did it just so I could say, I'm making my laminates. And it felt great. Oh, yes, I'm working on my laminates. It's good. The laminate is the future of art.
It's not what we've just been arguing against. Don't laminate everything.
Yeah, don't laminate everything. Oh, no,
it's a nice word, isn't it? Laminate.
Yeah, but the Arts Council, they're going to give me that 500,000 grant to wrap Ben Nevis in.
No,
in
I
plastic.
think what you should be wrapping instead is the Arts Council headquarters. Wrap that up instead.
Shrink wrap the Arts Council headquarters.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful idea.
So let's do that. Because for ages I've wanted to do a thing of just applying to the Arts Council for loads of really stupid stuff. I wanted to take like a chicken on a boat down the canal or whatever.
Yeah.
Sort of like when we, sort of paddleboarding around dressed as Jesus on Easter weekend, that sort of thing. But we could just write. I've always wanted to write to the Arts Council and just try and get them to reject lots and lots of things, just because I know someone has to read it.
They could spend time reading
funny.
them. That would be nice. We have beef with the Arts Council because for a long time now the Arts Council, they will not fund Ergo Phizmiz for a very, very long time.
It's because you're not doing stuff that's about play in the public space.
But like I said, I'm changing my direction, and from now on, everything I do is going to be play in the public space. I want to make art for businessmen and estate agents and people doing whatever those other jobs that they call synergy and all those business work.
Icon and cornflower blue,
exactly.
Blue sky.
I want to make art for
the
them.
box.
Yeah, because the most important thing in our society now, the thing our society needs more than anything else, is play in the public space. I want to make art now expressly for like estate agents to like move around in lights, or on my Ben Nevis piece, when I shrink wrap Ben Nevis, that is for estate agents and things to climb up Ben Nevis, but also be making tactile contact with the shrink wrap at the same time, and pondering upon the meaning of the term the plastic arts as they're travelling up, and then when they get to the top of Ben Nevis, because the whole thing is laminated, they can just slide down.
Oh yeah.
Which is, I mean,
are they going to have to like cut? Are they inside the laminate?
No, they're outside the laminate. But that will be my.
But all the other animals are inside the under the laminate.
Yeah, they're under
after
the laminate.
you wrap
of
the
course,
large
of course.
thing.
Yeah, they're underneath, and the Arts Council they'll go for this. This will really make some business guys with lovely shiny shoes. It'll make them happy. They will have fun, and that's been from the beginning the whole point of this program, how to teach people to have fun, and it seems according to almost every cultural thing that I ended up at over a period, that play in the public space for businessmen is the thing. And isn't the idea that Canary Wharf should become like a giant playground for businessmen with climbing frames and all this kind of thing?
I don't know. Is it?
Through the installation of play in the public space, there will be a lot of that around there.
I kind of love Canary Wharf. I find it like, even though I'm not supposed to, but I do.
You'll love it more when it's shrink wrapped.
Well, it looks so, I don't know, it looks so weird, that big bit of water out the front and like all the kind of mysterious sort of capitalism stock things. I wouldn't say I love it, but I'm aware that it's kind of evil, but I think it sort of looks nice.
Yeah. We in a world so...
It's always empty, that's what I call it.
It
feels like you're
empty.
in an apocalypse.
It's kind of like Poundbury. It has the feeling of Poundbury.
Yeah, and then also the other thing about all those districts of London is the thing I always liked is on Sundays in the business bits, they're just empty. And it's really nice walking around it. It's just, and you can walk back. Everyone always says, it's really dangerous at whatever, don't go out at night, but I used to go out at night in London a lot, and just a lot of it was just empty, presumably because loads of other people are not going out at night.
Yeah.
Everyone always says don't go down the canal at night because you'll definitely get killed.
But because of that,
there's no one on the canal, so it's like really nice.
Yeah.
There's just lots of birds sleeping and stuff.
Yeah. Yes, lovely bird life. Our birdie friends. Yeah. So I only got about halfway through this.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I love our digressions, but we only got about halfway through the list of the music that we heard in the mixes. We heard the remarkable Indonesian duo Senyawa, who I was fortunate enough to meet and perform with a few years ago in Rotterdam. We had New York Pro Musica, directed by Noah Greenberg, performing the play of Daniel, a 12th century musical drama. We had the aptly named Renaissance singers performing the music of Palestrina. We had C. Ornadell and D. Croft's version of The Tale of Peter Rabbit, narrated by Vivian Lee. We had a poem by the great poet W.H. Auden, who Lottie saw as a ghost once.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm. We had one of my favorite tracks, Box Energy by DJ Pierre, a.k.a. Future. And we had, I believe, we listened to Dum Dum Part 2 by Fresh, or maybe it was Acid Bass by Roy Davis Jr. And we heard Fun 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 by Spike Milligan, No Not Yet by Morecambe and Wise. And the other strange sounds that intermittently appeared is a lathe cut from 2014, when I made a radio play in Germany called Hollywood: A Bestiary, and the point was that it was a live radio play, so I have the sound effects here in my hand, cut to record, and it was the most terrifying night of my life. And everybody else who was involved in the production, we were all absolutely mortified because it went out live and was piano, voices, turntables. There was also an audience in the room, which was particularly intimidating. But the producer,
technical as well. Piano is all very difficult.
Yes, but the producer, who was a brilliant producer, Katerina Agatos, Bayerischer Rundfunk. They have this culture in Germany of like dramaturgs at the radio station whose job it is to kind of guide the writers, but also, to sometimes like push the writers and the performances in more difficult directions. They're like good and firm to work with and severe to work with, and they tell you when it's really terrible and things like that. So rewrite that bit, and you always end up with a brilliant piece as a result of this collaboration. But in this case, on this evening, an hour before the broadcast, which, like I said, was like 3 or 4 voice actors, a double turntable setup, a pianist, and it was Hollywood: A Bestiary, about the animals in early Hollywood. We kind of need a new one now on the ghosts of the animals, the ghost of Hollywood. But about an hour before we were supposed to go on air, Katerina, the producer, came into the room where the cast and I were sat, quivering and shaking and panicking and all this. And then Katerina came in and said, "Hey, I've had a great idea. Instead of going from A to Z, let's put all those letters in a hat and just perform the piece as the letters come out the hat." So we went like R, B, D, T, etc., etc. But it basically meant that every single person who was already absolutely terrified about doing this live broadcast to audience of like millions in Bavaria or whatever were now just doubly terrified, because we didn't know what we were going to play first, we didn't know what we were going to play second, and we didn't know what was going to come next until number 26. And it was really interesting because the dramaturgy of the piece came out completely differently.
It's online, isn't it?
It is online. There is also a video of it online of us performing it in the studio. And that was and every single person involved in the production said that was the most terrifying night of their lives.
It's really great though. I watched it a lot, the video. Yeah,
I've got lovely socks in it. Do you remember my socks in that video? Oh, they were gorgeous socks. I was wearing them all the time at this time. Whenever I performed, I used to. They were like left over from this production that I'd made called Gargantua, and there were these giant long white socks and giant long black and sort of day glow green socks, and I felt like. I felt like the little Jack of Spades or something like that. I felt like when I dress like that, I don't feel like I'm walking. I feel like I'm trotting. I trot about. Yeah, Hollywood, a bestiary.
The last thing I was expecting to see when I walked out onto the set were these enormous elephants standing next to giant paper elephants.
The voice of Lee Gerard there.
Oh, what, were these all pressed onto the...
Onto the lace coat, yes.
Oh, amazing.
So this is our elephant sound effect, which is, as you can hear quite clearly, chairs being pulled across the floor. And there was all things like, I'd asked the guy who cut it, this brilliant record cutter in Amsterdam, I'd asked him to cut it with like spacious gaps in between the tracks, but the gaps, they were not big enough. So one had to try and gauge very precisely where this next sound effect was going to start, and the great tragedy of it was that I was the only person who made a mistake.
You can't
in the production.
Notice,
no, but
I didn't notice. It's really cool. It's a great video. If anybody wants to look at it,
that is on br.de.
Hollywood, a bestiary.
Hollywood, a bestiary, and we need to make a new version.
Because Hollywood's burnt down.
Because Hollywood has burnt down.
Nobody cares.
Took David Lynch with it.
Yeah.
David Lynch
killed David Lynch.
David Lynch died being taken from one
change.
place to the other.
But climate change sort of, it's more important than anyone's life or the continued life on the planet that we continue to just burn stuff. And, whatever it is, buy all this... I don't understand.
Yeah. We live, for sure...
Everybody's expendable, apparently.
Yeah, we live in the most insane iteration of the world, for sure. And, people always say,
the worst of all
you'll always say
worlds.
it's the worst time to be alive.
No, but it is legitimately... everything
is.
that was bad in the past, it's like it wasn't all on fire at the time. Now it's all on fire.
Yeah. And I spoke to my, to Tallulah, my 20-year-old daughter, the other day about... she's studying and about how do her and her friends feel about the future, and she just said, well, all of us just think, well, maybe there isn't one.
I don't know. I'm still kind of optimistic about it.
Because, me too.
Because the thing is, I think the first step is to accept that, we are in the apocalypse. It's already happened. Yeah. We can make it better.
The statistic is that we killed 70% of life in the last 100 years.
Yeah,
so
but
that's the apocalypse.
We can
Once you've hit
undo
50%,
though,
then you're in the apocalypse.
If you look at stuff if you look at things like the big disasters, like Chernobyl and stuff like that, the planet can recover after it. Things can recover. It's possible.
The planet, like the human body, like anybody, is pretty good at recovering.
It's already been a total disaster, and no one has any respect for anything and have destroyed the majority of things. However, it's a choice, and we can stop destroying it, and then it can be regenerated and everything. I mean, this is not a nice way to live, is it?
No.
I don't know why everybody, the opting for everything being covered in plastic and fly tipping, and just like petrol and just everything being on fire. Like, that's not a pleasant way to live. Why do you want to live like that? Like, even the people who are in charge of all the the billionaires and the oil companies, they would have a better time if we didn't have the system. They would enjoy it too, because it wouldn't all be on fire.
Yeah.
So, but it's a choice. We can make it better.
Yeah, they could start having fun, couldn't they? Instead of burning things.
Well, it's
Pyromaniacs find burning things fun, but they're not very socially,
They do it on a fairly small scale as well, really, don't they? Compared to BP or Shell and stuff. Who, incidentally, I read today are going to give up on renewables and are going to go back into burning fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Just give up.
Brilliant. Isn't that brilliant?
What a great idea. Oh, you know what I mean? You could have this really clean thing that runs well, or you could just set fire to everything. Which is the better option?
Yeah, well, let me think about it. Well, I could, take the bus,
go home, have a lovely evening with friends, or I could go outside and just hit my head against the wall all day and all night. And I think I'll go for the former, because the former is like pleasant and fun and doesn't cause violence and death. But it does seem now that many people are going, oh, well, let's just go with the violence and death. And I remember being in my A-level history class and everybody learning that the idiot with the silly mustache was voted in rather than taking power, and all the teenagers around me in my A-level history class being horrified and saying, how could this be allowed to happen? But when Hitler was voted in, people didn't know what was going to happen. But now we have enough historical precedent to know what these kind of belief systems lead to. So the difference now is that the entire world is just walking into something which they know is atrocious, which isn't going to do anyone any favors, and just provides short-term solutions for angry men who hate themselves, so propel that hatred out onto the rest of the world. We can have a much better society. The heart of humanity is not a heart of death and destruction, clearly, because if it was, we wouldn't all be here, would we? We are classically pretty good at surviving, hence us being here. But now we seem to have gone into the mindset of, no, let's just bash our heads against the wall because it's fun. And actually, a lot of people are bashing their head against the wall because somebody intelligent has told them not to bash their head against the wall. Yeah, and so they decide to bash their head against the wall.
It's a fundamentally contrarian position.
Forever. Yes. And there are people in their 60s, some who I know very well, who have now made their primary position and their primary perspective in life to be teenage contrarianism, even though you've been on, teenagers have got an excuse and children have got an excuse because they've only been in the world for a short time. People who've been in the world for a long time have no excuse for acting like contrary teenagers.
No, you really don't.
No. So it's basically like we as humans, we haven't been around very long. I think 100,000 years is about when Homo sapiens came along. And on this sort of doomsday clock thing or the great clock of time, human beings appeared into the vast framework of this planet at like what is like 1 minute to midnight. So we are new, we are recent, we are new. And we haven't managed to kill all of each other yet. So maybe it would be a good idea to go more in that direction. Ooh, but did you see all the really fascinating stuff that came out in the news last year? That human beings, as we just said, have been around on the planet for about 100,000 years. And last year sometime, a immense wooden structure was excavated. Immense wooden structure. And the date of it was 500,000 years ago. So, the implication of that is almost definitely is that there was some intelligent, architectural thinking life form on this planet, maybe a lost species of human, or who knows. But 500,000 years ago, who could do things that we couldn't do until about 3,000-4,000 years ago? So there's a lot of very fascinating stuff happening now that will completely rewrite our history.
So we're not even that good. I mean, the chances are we might have learnt it from someone before. I'm so bored of this anthropocentric nonsense.
Yeah, and the idea that humans are the greatest of all species because of the way that we use our language. But,
because other animals don't have language. I mean, how would they exist if they didn't have language?
But we're like the scientists are discovering, like, now. I mean, we are really just at the beginning of our understanding of this planet, of the other animals, and like your father has pointed out a few times.
Hi, Roger.
All the other animals seem to be able to communicate with each other.
Yeah, and they're all afraid of humans.
Yeah.
And like, what does that say? When you're a human and you go out into any situation in the wild, what's left of it, that all of the animals are shut up. And I also notice as well, I spend most of my time trying to not scare animals at all. But I notice as well that there's a particular species of birds in every country that acts as like the warning thing for all the other animals.
Yeah.
It does like a because we're violent. We're like a horrible species.
Yeah.
All animals hate us.
Yeah.
Because we
destroy
murder
everything.
them all.
We have destroyed their planet. And in reality, if you actually think about it, we've only been like developed for 100,000 years. It's not our planet. It is their planet.
Like lizards and that are older than us.
Really, the planet belongs to the birds.
Chickens, crows and stuff. It's their planet. And there's always this idea that, like, if aliens, we're going to contact someone on this planet, we always assume it's going to be humans. Why do you think it's going to be humans? It could be crows. This is what my father says. Why would it automatically be humans? Because you're all arrogant. Not all of you, but the majority are arrogant. Yeah. Because I don't mean individually. Obviously, I don't have to make a disclaimer about this. But the Anthropocene is. Yeah. It's arrogant. It's fundamentally arrogant.
Well, yeah, because
thinks it's better than everyone.
The Anthropocene presumes that the world belongs to the humans.
It doesn't.
And it does not.
It does not. It doesn't even belong to most
humans.
humans. It belongs to like 5 billionaires. So that's it. It doesn't even belong to us. It's.
But haven't you heard the billionaires are going to save us all?
Well, I mean, they're all going to be like Elon's going to be a trillionaire soon, isn't he?
Oh,
apparently.
That's nice.
This year.
What do you think he'll do on the day he becomes a trillionaire?
I think he'll do lots of really stupid things and waste his life.
Oh, I know what he'll do on the day he becomes a trillionaire. He'll play video games.
Stupid little dance.
Yeah. Do a silly little dance. So many dances. Well, we've got 15 minutes until we leave this radiophonic.
Oh, gee, I wonder what other depressing things I can talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just the whole, we go about with humanity and, the amount of times that... How many studies have you read of people going... Did you know that this new study that someone's gotten money for research on shows that animals can have feelings?
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah,
it's like,
Who'd have thunk?
You don't need to... Right. How would anything exist if it wasn't self-conscious?
Yeah.
What do you think? They're just like, do you think it's just like billiards, like bumping into each other?
It's astonishing, isn't it? But it is the widespread presumption that animals it's still under debate whether they are sentient.
Feelings. Of course, they're sentient.
Yeah. How would they?
And the other thing as well of people saying, whatever, the animal only loves its child because of instinct. Right, okay, well, so why is that
do humans.
not... And humans, in their whole New Age type capacity, always talk about trust your instincts. And they're also simultaneously the same sort of people that say that kind of stuff probably also don't think that animals have any... So why is it in that the animals can't think? So why is it that if humans have instincts, that's amazing, and you're an autonomous, amazing agent of big macho, human-y war. Yeah. But if animals have instincts, then they're apparently completely non-thinking and just what? Do people think that they're just like a ball that rolls into a wall?
They do.
How would the world exist in the capacity that it does now if stuff couldn't think? Of course they're self-conscious. Of course they're sentient. Of course they're why would it be humans are the only species on the planet that's got self-consciousness? Of course we're not.
But we presume that because of our language, the way that we use our language, because Calvino describes the alphabet as a technology. And it is. We created this technology that enables us to basically transmit information. The fact that we have a language isn't that remarkable, but the fact that we've created ways of putting it there for posterity using this technology, which is the alphabet, is pretty remarkable. But there have been leaps and bounds recently in the comprehension of animal behavior, and it is one of the few good uses of machine learning, which I refuse to call AI because it's not artificial intelligence, it's machine learning. But there have been leaps and bounds in animal communication recently, which thus proves that prior to it, we understood nothing. We only discovered last year, and they were able to use machine learning to have a conversation with the animal in question. They discovered that whales, in fact, have an alphabet. They have phonetic sounds, they have consonants, they have vowels.
Don't they have sort of pronouns and stuff like that? Yeah. It's like it's an entire the same as us.
Yeah, and also a wonderful thing that I read was that it was discovered quite recently that birds, and the bird in question that I was reading about was a macaw or something like that, that they actually their speech, and it's much the same with us. Our speech is not our only sort of communication tool. We use our faces, we use our bodies, etc., etc. But it turns out that birds use their bodies in far more complex and intricate ways than we do. They've discovered that parrots communicate messages by the subtle shapes of the way that they change their feathers.
Well, it's something to do with light wavelengths that humans obviously can't see, but they're basically using kind of semaphore, but with their feathers.
With the complex, discrete shapes.
It's kind of like maybe the case is that animals are a lot more sort of mystical and complex than we can possibly ever understand. Because why can they all, they use a lot of, they speak in terms of like gesture and it's kind of like a ballet sort of thing, isn't it? With birds, they have all these kind of, their murmurations and stuff like that. Yeah. But according to most humans, they're not thinking about that and don't know what they're doing.
And again,
how are they alive? How have they evolved? How do they survive on the planet if none of them know what they're doing? Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah. And like a murmuration, we live in this world where everybody looks at their phone screen all the time because they believe it's a virtual world, which it isn't. It's just some pictures on your phone. But where we are living now, every single day at round about nowish actually, there is a huge murmuration of jackdaws that just flies over the house, makes all these extraordinary, beautiful patterns, and it happens absolutely every day, and it is gasp-inducing. It is an image of the purest, like rawest poetry, and you see there are remarkable murmurations that suggest to me that we just know nothing. When swallows make immense murmurations of thousands of birds, and then sometimes they create in the air the shape of a big bird with their bodies, that is remarkable and
what do you think it's
people think
beautiful. It's like an accident.
People think that,
they're not thinking about. Well, do they think that they're not talking to each other? Yeah. Of course they're talking to each other. Why do you think they make noises? Yeah. Of course they're talking to each other. Although, what is the function of any of them making any noises? They are the same as us.
Oh, I've got it. I know why.
Except less arrogant.
No. You're wrong, Lottie. You're wrong. I know why all the animals are making noises. They're just seeking attention.
Well, it's
just those attention-seeking woodpeckers.
It's just, I've known a lot of, I guess I would say I've been friends with, I've hung out with a lot of animals and I used to have a friend, Goose, who would come round and he, Mr. Beaky, and he'd sit with me and we got him to play guitar and drums and stuff, and he liked it, and he was nice, and he used to He used to come up. Oh, it's so sad. I don't know whether he's all right. But he used to come up and he'd like come and talk and stuff like that. Was it just?
Well, he was.
Well, it was an accident. He didn't.
He was kind of the outcast goose as well, wasn't he? Because he had this disease on his beak or something. So the other geese, they wouldn't let him join the group. So he came and hung out with us.
And he was nice. Like, why would he be doing that if he didn't have any thoughts?
Yeah, he was lovely.
I remember seeing. Oh, I already talked about the cow thing, didn't I? That me and my father were out and we were in the middle of like the downs on the island somewhere on the Isle of Wight, and a cow had just given birth like that second as we'd walked past, and the baby was still like finding its feet, and then the cow was like jumping up and down going, "I've had a baby, look!" And it came running up to us, to my father, saying, "Look, I've had a baby, look." Like excited, jumping up and down, and that baby was probably taken away from its parent and stabbed in the throat and eaten.
Yeah, but that's fine because
wrapped in plastic. And
the cow was just jumping around because of
loved
instinct.
its baby.
Yeah.
But like, I don't understand why it's instinct in terms of like the animals, but in humans, it's like this wonderful God-given capacity for it was so wonderful. Like, why is nothing else? Why are we not on the same level? It's so obvious.
And anyone who
we didn't all used to think like this. This is a newer like the Intensive Animal Agriculture Act was passed in 1947, wasn't it? And you didn't have this thing before that.
No, it didn't exist. And
it's new. We haven't always done this.
No, most people
previous
would not
cultures
eat meat
had
constantly.
Previous cultures had more of a respect for animals, and they because humans consider themselves more part of the natural world. The only reason that we don't consider ourselves part of the natural world now is because of industrialization and sort of it's like romantic era onwards.
Yeah,
I just think it's a disaster. It's a horrible way to live. Everything's on fire. Everything's dying. What's the point?
Yeah.
Anyway, happy February.
Yeah, happy February. A better world is totally possible, but we have to communicate with each other and work together and talk to each other and try and understand each other's problems. And
stop killing everything. Have a bit of respect for just any respect for anything.
And this vital word that
and for yourselves
that has really become quite alien to our culture now, and it's a word that the likes of like Elon Musk and Donald Trump, the word has no relevance, and it's maybe it's an old smoochy word, it's a bit lovey-dovey, but what we need is compassion. And empathy and understanding, and then we can make a more tolerable world. And it doesn't matter that you're gonna, that you're like, oh well, I'm gonna die soon, so I won't know anything about it. Because what about your kids and your grandkids?
Just so selfish and
the animals,
solipsistic.
And,
Well, you really want to sort of like get rid of the whole of existence.
Hey, can I confess something? I don't know what solipsistic means.
Solipsism is the sort of branch of philosophy. I mean, the Cartesian, I think, therefore, I'm thinking, therefore I'm existing. It's the Cartesian idea was like whether or not like you're just a brain in a vat and whether anything else exists.
But
then Wittgenstein managed to kind of get around that by saying, because there was the big Cartesian sort of dualism of like, am I just my mind? Is everything else false? Yeah. But obviously not. But it's a philosophy question, isn't it? But then Wittgenstein managed to quietly sort of prove the external world. Sorry, I'm insane. By kind of the private language argument. So you can't have a language that exists with kind of reference points to the exterior world in isolation. It would have to have an anchor point, and therefore you can prove that stuff exists.
Yeah. Well. I will on the word solipsism, which I now understand the meaning of. I can reveal
That's
to you
probably a better definition
in our last 3 minutes that the Wire magazine, right, who really really hate me, and I don't know why, although I suspect maybe I do. But the first time they wrote about me, back in 2003. They did one of those one-page articles about me,
and they said at the beginning of the article that my work is bafflingly solipsistic.
What? That doesn't
and engagingly ludic.
What?
Do you know what ludic means?
No, I don't. But bafflingly solipsistic doesn't make any sense.
Okay, well, that's
not
good to know.
That's a very strange combination of words.
Yeah, I hope you're listening. Wire magazine.
They're not,
No,
but
they're
I
not.
think maybe the problem is that a lot of music journalists aren't musicians. So therefore, why does anyone take any advice from these people who can't? Yeah. And I mean, across the whole board of all sort of people who review things, it's like, well, if you don't like it, go and make a film yourself.
Yeah.
Learn to play an instrument. You do better. Anyway, sorry, I'm really depressed. Yeah. That's why I'm called Depresstival.
But can I ask you, do you think I'm bafflingly solipsistic and engagingly ludic?
It's not a real... It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Bafflingly solipsistic.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Elon Musk is like...
Is he bafflingly solipsistic?
No, but it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
I don't know. It's just... it's because it's... I think they're just trying to appear clever.
Yeah.
And in that, managing to fail miserably.
Yeah. I was very proud of that my 23-year-old self was very proud and excited to be in the Wire magazine. And now I'm proud and excited to be in it for different reasons.
Really went downhill after the font changed.
Yeah. Don't change that font. Well, we got 1 minute and 45 seconds. This is Future Jacks by Future, aka DJ Pierre. I once used a drum machine, an 808 that DJ Pierre had signed.
Oh.
In the Worm studio in Rotterdam.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so excited.
And I fell asleep under the
DJ Pierre's
synthesizers.
808?
It was quite exciting. I fell asleep under the lovely synthesizers,
Yeah.
which is one of the nicest places I've had a narcolepsy episode.
It was lovely.
That's nice.
It was lovely when you were sleeping underneath the synthesizers.
Maybe I'll do it in here sometime as well.
But you know, that room, being in that Worm, that amazing studio full of electronic equipment, it really makes me feel bafflingly solipsistic and engagingly ludic. Do you know what the word ludic means?
No, I don't, but I'll go and have a look when we get the internet.
45 seconds until Democracy Now! With its jazzy theme. I really love the jazzy music at the beginning of Democracy Now! It makes me feel good about democracy, which doesn't happen very often nowadays. Oh, look at that. The track that I was going to play out with for these last 25 seconds finished. So I propose it's probably time for an advert. Buy things! Buy stuff! Potatoes! Bread! Potatoes! Bread! Buy stuff! Potatoes! Bread! Buy it! Potatoes! Bread!